Episode 106, your 2026 marketing challenge. 2026 does not need more marketing tactics. It needs more commitment. In this episode, we introduce the 2026 marketing challenge. 5 simple ideas, 1 intentional choice. No pressure. We walk through 5 marketing moves you can make this year and challenge you to pick just one. Not the easiest one, not the trendiest one, the one you are willing to stick with. This is not about chasing algorithms or trying to be everywhere. It is about focus, consistency, and building momentum that actually lasts. Pick one idea, commit to it, and let 2026 be the year your marketing finally compounds. Matt Hansen, how are you?
Good. This is an interesting topic for me because right now in 2026, we're a couple weeks into. Well, actually, by the time this comes out, we'll be a couple weeks into January, and no matter where you go right now, people are talking about, oh, you've got to do this in the new year and that in the new year and all these things, and you've got to pay attention to what AI is happening and what's going on with Google and on social and all these different things that just everyone is throwing out there and saying that you're not going to be profitable next year unless you do this, you're not going to be successful. And really what it comes down to is it's the hype train, right? So everybody's just telling you got to do all this stuff, and most people are listening to it. So I wanted to take a day where we just kind of said, hold on, slow it down. Don't listen to the masses. Everyone's just out there producing content, but kind of focus on what you want to do. So the last episode, we talked about a Misogi challenge, which is kind of like defining thing that you're going to do through the year. And we mentioned that, the Misogi challenge that I had last year was I was going to launch this podcast, and we went through it and we did, 105 episodes or whatever it came out to. We had 100 that we were going to do, but the idea was we're going to stick with it and we're going to do it and we're going to get through it and we're going to provide some really great content. And we made it, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to challenge you to understand that let's pick one thing. Let's focus on one area. Let's not try to be everything. And you'll see if you monitor this, if you pick something that you can stick with, that you can do on a regular basis, when we get to that December 30th, 31st of this year, I should say, you're going to notice that you're going to see the change, right? So you're going to see what you've done over the last year. So have you ever, I was going through yesterday, I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about how go back through your calendar, go back through your photos in your phone, and look at what you've done over the last year. And I thought it was interesting because I'm like, okay, let me see what happened, because you go through a regular day and I'm reacting to everything that's going on. And instead of reacting, what we want to do is we want to be proactive. We want to say, all right, I'm going to focus on this thing this year. So, a lot of people talk about, well, I want my business to grow. Well, what does that entail, right? What does that really entail? I want to do better marketing. What does that entail, right? I want to spend more time with my family. Okay, how are you going to do that? I don't want to spend more time with my family. I don't know, based on the faces that you're giving me. But, pick that one thing that you're going to focus on. And that's what I want to do. I want to lay out a challenge for you today. And we want to talk about just different things that you can do, and pick one and stick with it all the way to the end of this year and see how you've grown. Because if you don't set goals and you don't give benchmarks and things that you're striving to reach, you're never going to reach it. It's just kind of always there.
So what you're saying basically flies in the face of a lot of what you hear in marketing podcasts and marketing ideas in general. I mean, it's all about getting as many places as you can be and telling your story in as many locations. And actually, maybe we can bring in Adriana, who is going to graduate here. Adriana,
hello.
I want to address this one.
Yes.
Because what he's saying is exactly the opposite of what I've learned in his classes. Mm-hmm. And you're in his class right now, the exit class to get out of Purdue.
Yes, next week we start.
You taught us on how to be on all these platforms.
Right.
And that is what I brought to this business. Adriana has learned a little bit from me, but from you and other marketing professors at Purdue. And it has mostly been about how to get on Instagram, how to be on YouTube, how to increase your algorithm, how to get search words. Adriana is about as high level as you can come as any undergraduate in America on streaming, broadcasting, and on marketing. So that's always been our push, right? Has been to be on as many channels as possible, correct?
To a certain extent, yes. How I look at it and viewing it is that you can do all of those things, but you can also do every single platform and you can do it wrong if you don't do it the correct way, because you need those certain keywords. Keywords can change all the time. So you have to adapt to the keywords, the hashtags and all that, as well as posting certain times. So it took us like 90 something episodes, but now we post Mondays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. each time, and that sticks to the algorithm so people know and they can expect that. We post to social media. If you post too long of clips, people are going to become uninterested. But if you post too short of clips, people aren't going to look at it. You got to find those happy mediums. So it's constantly changing, especially within the world of social media, because right now TikTok used to be Musically, and those were maybe 15-second videos. And now you can post a whole entire movie on there. And it just depends on your audience and who's going to watch.
So she brought up 4 or 5 different platforms. Sure. Okay.
Can I break this down into the most simplest way?
So for the average business owner, they're confused because they've listened to all of these and they're like, God, he taught us to be here, to be there, to be there, and now he's saying I got to pick one.
So, yes, ideally we should be everywhere. But let me put it into a different kind of context. You know how I like to tell stories. So we all have our friends that we've had through the years, right? So let's, again, I'm turning 50 this year, so let's assume that I've got 50 years of 50 years of, I don't know about that.
What's the date on that?
July 1st.
All
so
right.
I was almost the bicentennial.
Thank you. She's putting it in the calendar right now. Okay.
So during those 50 years, I've met a variety of people, and I've called a lot of them my friends through the years. And what you'll notice is you have all of these friends that you consider them friends, but maybe you haven't talked to them in 10 years. Maybe you haven't talked to them in 5 years. Maybe you haven't talked to them in 2 years. You consider yourself friends, and there's a connection there, but you aren't putting all of your effort into maintaining that connection with that friend, right? So think of it in, they pretty much say you'll probably have like 5 close friends through your life, right? And those are the 5 people that you surround yourself with, and those people change consistently, right? So we evolve, we change, there's new things that are happening. So when I was in college, I had a certain group of friends that I hung out with. When I was in my 20s, I had my coworkers that I hung around with a lot. When I reached my 30s, we had kids, and you start hanging out with the parents of the friends that my kids have. And then now that I'm in my 40s, it's like this weird shift because my kids are starting to go to school, and we don't necessarily hang out with those friends anymore. But now it's like a new set that's working it. So what we're saying is things evolve over time. And whether you're marketing and you're putting it out there, consider all these different platforms, different friends. Now, if I put all of my effort into one of those, who is that? That's my best friend. That's the person that I call at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, I need you, right? It's the one that knows you best. It's the one that you put the most effort into. It's the one that's the most consistent. It's the one you can count on. Okay, so if that's Facebook, if that's Google, if that's radio, whatever it is, you are good at this, that is valuable to you. That's a best friend. That's a best platform, a best marketing platform, right? So I'm trying to compare friends to us putting everything out there. So if Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Google search and even Bing search and all this other stuff, like they're all friends that are out there, and we can pay attention to them, but we're not going to give them the attention that they need because we are favoring one or two over the others. Okay, and I know this sounds a little weird, but I'm trying to make it connect to those listeners. if you focus on your best friend or your best platforms, you're going to get the best results.
Yes.
So the number one thing that I say here is focus on one that you can do an amazing job at, and will be there to help support you in everything that you're doing. You can have the other ones out there, right? So I have my old friends that I used to work with back when I was in my 20s, and I could call them tomorrow, and we would pick up like we were back then. But we'd have to catch up on 20 years worth of things that have happened, and it would take a long time. Maybe we'll get together in 3 months. Maybe we won't, right? It's all of those things. The things that we pay attention to are the things that grow. And that's what I want to get to today is pay attention to one and become an expert in one, really good understanding of it, and you're going to see that grow. Whereas the other ones, if you're trying to be everywhere and you're not paying attention to one and you're spreading yourself so thin, nothing really ever gets done. And it's just kind of there.
So to apply to your average business owner, a small business marketer, or medium-sized business, a bank or whatever, how do they choose their best friend?
So there's a couple different ways to look at it, right? So if you're trying to generate awareness, obviously a lot of people pay attention to Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Let's be honest, right? That's just everyone has kind of their own personal preference. If you're looking at a demographic, whether it's younger or older, or, moms, dads, children, whatever it is, there's a preference there. If you're talking to somebody that's trying to convert something, right, trying to get somebody to buy something right then and there, that's completely different, right? Because social owned, right? If I'm posting on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or any of these platforms, from an own side, meaning our own page, our own account, you're not going to necessarily convert. That's used for general awareness, trying to get people to know who you are. When you're trying to convert, right, you're trying to get people to buy from you, we're looking at more of email, we're looking at paid search because people are frantically looking for something on a search engine. Even we have to talk about generative AI at this point because, people are searching the AI, LLMs and all this other stuff are producing content that's coming back to us. It's got to lift that as well. So you have to look at the customer. Are they a passive audience? Are they an active audience? And are you trying to just generate awareness or are you trying to convert at that point? And those are when you start to kind of play off of different platforms and start to make those decisions.
So to go back to the funnel, just in case you haven't listened to 105 episodes before this.
Or Jim.
Yeah.
And if you haven't listened to all 105 episodes, you can find all of those episodes on any podcast platform as well as our YouTube channel.
We can find them on YouTube.
Yep. Every single episode is on our YouTube channel as well as it should be on yours as well.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you want your own podcast, Adriana, 2 N's, Adriana at WJOB1230.com, and she'll figure that out. So when you're trying to choose that one, I mean, once again, it flies in the face of what we've learned. Mm-hmm. What are the characteristics of it, though? I mean, what are you really looking for?
Well, let me ask you.
Wait, let's rewind on the funnel. Mm-hmm. Awareness is the top of the funnel. The middle of the funnel is converting. And then the very bottom of the funnel is the close or the sale or making them a customer. So I look at it as awareness, consideration, and at the bottom is the close, is the client. So we're still in the awareness phase when we're talking about pick one, correct?
Correct.
Does it have, so all right, go ahead, answer the question.
So let's take you, for example, right? You're not 20 years old. I don't know if you're on social media, right? But if I said to you, hey, you're in charge, you're a one person entrepreneur, owns a small business, you're in charge of promoting content on one of your own social channels. Is it going to be Facebook? Is it going to be Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest? Where are you going?
Facebook.
Okay. Why Facebook?
I know how to use it. I think most of the people I know are on Facebook in my age group.
Okay. Exactly. That's all we have to say. So if I say to Adriana, where are you going?
Instagram.
Right.
Okay, why?
Instagram mainly because Snapchat is a dying social media, at least for my generation, especially because with their new rules and regulations with their storage.
Yeah.
So that's dying already. Instagram has been most used because we saw Facebook as that's what our parents use, that's what they're on that platform. Instagram is for more so my generation. And then TikTok is it's a 50-50 shot, mainly because schools have banned TikTok. Of course, kids find their way around it, and that's still one of the more popular platforms. But Instagram has almost everything that you need wrapped into all of those platforms, and plus it collaborates. It's Meta, so it's Facebook and Instagram are partners in together. So you can post whatever you post on Instagram to Facebook automatically, and it'll go up there regardless. So I think for my generation, we looked at it as, oh, well, we don't want to use our parents' social media, so we want our own. Instagram.
Right. So
I didn't get Facebook until I was 20 years old. And it was mainly just because I saw no purpose for it. None of my friends were on Facebook. And if they were, it was either their parents' account or it was the fact that they're just like, everybody else is on all these other platforms. My parents on Facebook. I don't want my parents seeing my social media posts. And then eventually we all just came together as one. He looked at me so like, why?
So we're back to the original. I think he's trying to tell us something too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, you go where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's use one example. And this is for we have a sports streaming business that does like 1,000 games, right? And we do it on our own platform, which is Heartland Sports Network. And we have been getting decent watch hours, but we've had people look at it and they're like, hey, you need to put some of these, you have to have some sort of a integration with a social media platform. We already have like 42,000 Facebook people, and we want maybe to start up a YouTube channel for it, which we don't have. We want to run some of the games live on one of those platforms, and that's where we are making this decision. We went through it at length yesterday. What are the factors to look at?
Well, the way to look at this is, do you understand how YouTube works yet?
She does.
I do, yes.
Okay. So YouTube, obviously, it will throw it out there to an audience. Everything that you post, it'll throw it out there to an audience, see if it sticks. And if it doesn't, it drops off immediately, right? So we were talking about shorts and long-form content and all this other stuff. But, you know, from the shorts perspective, I've watched this where one will just take off out of the blue. Yes. Right? And it's literally... YouTube is all about the hook, keeping them, you know, what's next. So if it gets stagnant anywhere in that video, you'll see it in the analytics immediately because everything just drops off. So YouTube is it's interesting because people will stick around and watch something for a long time, but it has to maintain that interest, right? So it's not like the days where we would turn on the TV and we'd watch a show and we're just like, okay, I'm bored with this, and do something else, and it continues to play. YouTube, they jump off of it immediately. Like, okay, this is not where I thought it was going. And it falls off, right? So what we have to look at with YouTube is it's the same issue that you're having with Facebook, is whether it's a 3-second video of somebody just watching it real quick and scrolling past it. YouTube's the same, where you'll see the engagement will jump and then it drops off, right? And you have to realize that anyone that is successful on YouTube continues all the way through that video to keep them on edge for what's next.
And then also what you hear every single YouTuber: like, comment, share, subscribe.
Of course.
You have to get all of those things in there. And if you just get the views, okay, well, they will see, well, you got views, but you didn't get the like, comment, share, subscribe. Yeah. That's a different issue. And it's there's so much to it, especially like with regular videos and live videos and live comments, regular comments. There's so much to it.
Well, you know, you're familiar with Mr. Beast, right? Yes. So Mr. Beast started back when he was, I think, in middle school, if I'm not mistaken. And it took him almost 10 years for anyone to watch his content.
And now he's a
And now, now
billionaire.
he's the biggest thing ever, right? So
biggest YouTuber.
are you willing to put 10 years into reshaping your content, building a production team? I mean, I think he has something like 200 people that work for him at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Just for his YouTube
Easily.
channel, right? So, again, work on something that you know or that you're willing to learn, because there's so many intricate details to each platform to be successful. So you've got your following on Facebook, right? 40,000. Great. Keep it. But realize that YouTube is another mountain that you're about to climb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to do it, go all in and learn and focus, and don't just post content. Understand that it's a different beast, right? So it's like jumping in a different car, right? So you have your car, you have your car, I have my car. And when you get in, you have to sit there and go, all right, what are all the bells and whistles that I have to pay attention to here?
Yeah.
I mean, we all have a steering wheel, we all have accelerator, right? Nobody has a manual transmission anymore. It'd be cool if we did, but but that's what I mean. Like, there's all of these different things that are in each one of these vehicles, and we have to understand them to get them from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what a manual transmission is?
I'm pretty sure I do. Isn't that when you have the
Stick shift?
Yeah, stick shift,
They
yeah.
call it the anti.
I saw your look on your face.
I was like, where you're like going like this, and you look like Smokey and the Bandit, just like going through.
that was really good. This will be
I'm telling
interesting.
you, I got movie education like for days. I didn't know a movie, but her it's like, you're gonna sit down and you're gonna watch it right now. I'm like, I got homework. You're gonna watch it right now.
Smokey and the Bandit is not on the top of my list, by the way. Maybe The Graduate. Hey, listen, she's Adriana Alvarez. She's a senior at. You're done?
I have one semester and then I'm done.
Okay,
gotta
and
come to
she's
my
actually
class.
taking Matt Hansen's exit course for getting out of digital marketing at Purdue. So these things are timely. But mostly it's for you. And I do want to mention one housekeeping thing. We're in a temporary studio right now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go into that at another time if it looks a lot different and a lot less.
Next time on Thursday we'll put mastering local marketing on the
There you go.
whiteboard. We'll get
It'll-
some markers.
But ultimately, you've introduced a concept that flies in the face of a lot of the stuff that I've learned. I took 2 of his digital marketing classes as an MBA student, and then I've done 100 podcasts with you. This kind of flies in against, but this is the challenge for 2026. Pick one.
Yep.
Pick one strategy, maybe pick one platform. Center around one core principle that you're going to go after. So the takeaways are?
I think set a goal, right? So by the end of the year, what do you expect to see, and work backward. I think, I set my goals every year. Again, last year was the podcast, the launch of this, but I've got a new one this year that we'll share as we continue to go through. But my goal is August 1st for that goal, and I'm working backward, and it's an unrealistic goal that I'm shooting for, but we'll see what happens. And as long as you put that out in front of you and you know what you're striving for, you'll be so much better off than just saying, oh, I'm going to get to this or I'm going to get to that.
She's Adriana Alvarez. He's Matt Hansen. I'm Jim Deedlow. You can watch these by going to WJOB 1230's podcast channel, or you could just type in Mastering Local Marketing on any podcast service. Until next time, see you later.